just wanted to kind of go over my wedding vision and what I've planned so far, all that good stuff, in hopes that it'll help you. Right now, I live in the US and we're in the midst of the coronavirus outbreak. Me and my fiance got engaged on Halloween in 2019 and it's now April 4th, 2020. So I am planning our wedding, honestly doing the bulk of our planning through this whole situation. I do have some helpful tips, especially because there's not a lot of videos on YouTube that I could find that really fit the theme of what I was trying to go for. And so I thought that this would maybe help get more ideas out there, especially everybody has extra time to kind of do some research nowadays with everybody being stuck indoors. Like I said, it's now April, so we are 7 months out from our wedding date. We're getting married October 10th, 2020, and I've gotten quite a bit of planning done so far. But one thing that I do highly recommend after you get engaged is to get a notebook. I pretty much carry it around with me at all times in my purse, and anything that I think of goes in here. Even if it's just a tiny idea that I think I might want to do, I put it in the notebook. That way I can refer back to it when I'm actually sitting down doing wedding planning. One of the first things that you're going to want to do is kind of rough draft your guest list. And the reason you're going to want to do that is the amount of people that you're inviting to your wedding is going to dictate every single other part of your wedding. The numbers really do play into your budget, and the more people you have, the more of your budget gets eaten up. So if you have a small budget like we do, trying to downsize as much as we can, especially because we have massive families, is really the only way to stay under budget. Our original guest list had 60 people on it, and it was just really close family and friends, people who had impacted our relationship at some point in time. My mom got a hold of the list, Dylan's mom got a hold of the list, and now we have 170 people on our list. That will happen. Your list count is going, or your guest count is going to grow. Just know that. That's why it's important to establish a budget immediately and do your guest count immediately. And then that way you can kind of weigh the options for everything else. So our wedding, it's not really a theme wedding, but kind of the vibe that we're going for is more of a boho, eclectic, kind of vintagey look. But the biggest thing that I'm doing, Dylan's on board with it, but it's really just more important to me, is that it's an eco-friendly wedding. Weddings traditionally are very wasteful, and so I'm trying to cut down on that as much as possible by using secondhand things that can be recycled, stuff that's biodegradable. And I'll get more into that with kind of my plan of attack that I've been doing to get the decor pieces. When I walk into a wedding, the first thing I personally see is the decorations. I've been to quite a few weddings in my day, and you can really tell when you walk into a wedding and it fits the couple. And that's really important to me too, and capture in our wedding as well. I am allocating a large amount of our budget to decorations. Part of that is because I am able to resell most of the decorations after the wedding. I am just such a visual person anyways, that matters more to me than even my dress. I'm spending far more on decorations than I spent on my dress. My biggest thing is not what I look like, it's what I'm seeing on the big day. Just keep that in mind. That's kind of what is important at the beginning of an engagement, is prioritizing where you want to allocate your money to. Your biggest plan of attack needs to be, what are my priorities? Who's coming to the wedding, how many people do I have, and what venue am I having it at? We were super fortunate because Dylan's parents have a property right on the Colorado River, so it's really pretty. So we're having kind of a field wedding slash backyard wedding. The ceremony will be, like I said, on the river, but the reception is going to be closer to the house, but it is going to be by a pond that they have on the property. So it is a really pretty spot, and we were fortunate that we have an area to do that, so we're not spending any money on our actual venue. However, we are renting tents, and that's where stuff starts getting expensive. We were a little worried about trying to brave it with the weather, so we did get tents for the reception, and if we have to, we'll do the ceremony inside the tents. But a tent for 170 people plus another tent just to have food and a dance floor and stuff, and they all kind of link together, but it was like $4,000. So if you feel like you can get away with not doing a tent, I would highly recommend it. One of the first things that I wrote down in my notebook are my priorities. So my first priority is the ceremony. And one thing, going back to the theme of the wedding, I don't want anything stark white. My dress is pretty white and the tents are going to be white, but pretty much everything else is going to be an off-white color or like a natural tone color. I didn't want white chairs. That was one of the harder things to figure out, were the chairs, because we had already spent so much money on tents that we didn't want to spend $3 per chair for 170 people. That's just a huge chunk out of our budget. However, I did find that our rental company had these brass, like brown chairs, kind of like your typical ones that if you have a gathering at your grandparents' house, and they have the ones that they have stored in their basement, and those were $1 per chair to rent as opposed to $3 per chair for the wood ones, which doesn't sound like that big of a difference, but for 170 people it adds up a ton. I went with the brown chairs, the brown metal chairs, and I do actually feel like they're gonna fit our vintagey vibe a little bit more, and I just feel like they're gonna look better than the stark white chairs. We went with rectangle tables. I kind of just like that banquet style more than the round tables too. The round tables just really reminded me of a traditional kind of glamorous wedding, which is the vibe that I'm really trying to avoid. I'm also really trying to avoid it looking rustic, especially because we're already going to be on a farm. Well, the camera died. And is it really an actual YouTube video if the camera doesn't die at least once? I have no idea where I left off. I am just going to kind of move on with things, and I'm going to insert inspiration pictures here. After each thing I describe, I'll put pictures up so you can see what I'm kind of talking about, and then I'll probably do an update video showing you guys what I have done, my hauls, stuff like that. You faked the camera, Twinkle. Yeah, you're scared of the camera. Okay. Okay, anyways, back to what I was talking about. Our altar is going to be an octagon, and we're going to build it ourselves, and we're in between things. So there's these 2 trees on the property that we were thinking about putting it in between. We'll either have it there or just like right on the river, so it's just drops right to the river. Our aisle is going to be boho like rugs. So you just have kind of like these Persian or Oriental rugs that are kind of scattered just down the aisle, and then we'll have a big one that we're actually standing on. So I think that'll be really pretty. We are going to do an unplugged ceremony sign. I just think that it looks better. People are more focused on you. So floral on the walkway. I'm actually not sure if I want to line the walkway with anything. If I do, it'll probably be something similar to this. We are doing dried florals. We're going to attempt to do dried florals for the wedding, and we're going to try to do them ourselves. So I'm growing stuff in my garden. My mom's growing stuff. Mother-in-law is going to grow some stuff, and we're going to dry them ourselves and see if we can get enough stuff to where we don't have to buy any fresh flowers. If we do buy fresh flowers, we are going to order them through like Sam's Club. We're not going to hire a florist is what I'm getting at. And the reason we want to do dried flowers, one, is because they have less of an impact on the environment, but 2, it'll be easier for us to put together stuff if we're not on a time crunch of these are going to dry out and look really wilted by the wedding. I'll put in some pictures of what I'm thinking, but like lots of natural grasses and neutral tones with like pops of greens, stuff like that. So we'll see if I can pull it off. I might do a whole nother video on that by itself. Let me know if that sounds like something you might want. I haven't found any videos of people foraging for their wedding flowers, and I especially haven't found any videos of people foraging and then drying their wedding flowers. So I do think that I might do that. I do have directional signs. So I do have a sign that I made that says ceremony, and I will do a wedding haul some other time showing you guys all the stuff that I've made for the wedding and that I bought for the wedding secondhand. Our ceremony is quite a ways away from our reception, and it's also quite a ways away from where we're having people park. So we are shuttling people from the parking area to the ceremony and then to the reception area. And the way we're doing that is hooking up a trailer to a truck, and as country as this sounds, we're putting hay bales on the trailer. I think I'm going to cover them with drop cloths, so you're just sitting on the hay bales but you can't actually see that they're hay bales, just to kind of keep the vibe a little bit more cohesive. I think that will really help. I'm just trying to make it not seem like a farm rustic, you know, wedding. So for the reception, this is where the bulk of the decorations are going to be. We are going to have a welcome sign at our ceremony that will be transferred to the reception as well. But because we're going to be spending the most time at the reception, our ceremony is probably going to be 30 minutes max, if that. We're going to move all the decorations from the ceremony to the reception. We are doing a big main wedding party table, so it'll be me and Dylan at one small table, and then off to the side we're gonna have 4 seats to his side and 4 seats to my side, which is how many people we have in each side of our wedding party. And this table was kind of my opportunity to dress it up for photos specifically, so I actually ended up getting some actual glassware from a secondhand store for that, which I can show later in my haul, but I am going to try and dress it up as much as I can. We are doing the dried florals on the tables at the receptions, because I already have collected a ton of dried floral and it looks really nice in the vases. But what I did for the vases, I just have been using bottles that we just are getting actual drinks out of. So we have some friends that drink beer. We drink beer. Dylan drinks a lot of like root beer and cream soda because he doesn't drink alcohol. And I drink kombucha. So I've just been slowly collecting glass bottles that are like the right size, that, you know, are big enough to be centerpieces on the table. We're also doing candlesticks. I've been going to secondhand stores. Obviously, I'm not now with the virus going on, but I've gotten quite a few candlesticks that I'll show in my haul too. And I'm just doing like brassy tones, silver, any kind of like tarnished looking metal, glass, any candlesticks I'm finding I'm buying. And I've been buying everything on sale. So if you go to like a thrift store, usually they have certain days that stuff are on sale. So you can scope it out, ask them what day that color tag is going to be on sale. They usually know, and then you can go that day and get them like half off, 30% off. So that will save you a ton of money as well. Tables, we're doing rectangle 8-foot long tables, and we are going to do bamboo plates for the dishware. And we're doing pizza, like that's going to be our food for the reception. But we're not spending a ton of money on food. We love pizza anyways. Because we're doing that, we're also going to do homemade salads. I like that because it's biodegradable and they're pretty sturdy and they look really pretty. We're also going to be doing table runners on the table. We're going to dye them kind of like a burnt dark orange color because our colors are kind of like an autumnal theme. I also made table numbers out of picture frames that I'll show in the haul too. For our wedding cake, we're actually just going to do like an angel food cake, I think, just a small one for us to cut. We are going to do a dessert table, and I think we're going to do mini desserts on there. So I know what I'm planning on doing is mini brownies and chocolate chip cookies. I'll probably do another kind of cookie. I kind of want to do mini pumpkin pies. We're not doing any appetizers, but we are doing a cocktail hour. So while we're taking pictures after the ceremony, we are going to have people go back to where the reception area is, find their seats because we are doing a seating chart. We're doing beer and wine. So we're going to do a red and a white wine, and then we're going to do beer, probably 3 different types of beer. Just a big keg and then 2 smaller kegs. And then lastly, we're going to do a root beer keg. And then of course we'll have like water and iced tea and stuff for other people. So for signs, we are DIYing all of our signs for our wedding. And I think that I'm going to try and get all of those done before I film a haul video. We are doing for our guest book, we're going to do where you sign the little piece of wood and you drop it into it's like a shadow box thing. But I like that. I found this really cool one on Etsy that I'll post. Anyways, I think that that's pretty much everything. That's my whole wedding vision. Hopefully this helps some of you guys with your planning. If any of my ideas sound like something you're interested in, if you would let me know if you'd be interested in seeing any of those as videos, that would be awesome. Especially because if you're going for like the boho theme, there's not a ton of stuff out there, and it's a theme that's all over Pinterest and it looks really pretty, but actually pulling it off on a budget is a little bit difficult. So if I'm able to help you guys with that, I'd be happy to share everything that I'm doing for my wedding. So hopefully it'll help you while you're planning yours. So anyways, thank you for watching. Everybody stay safe if you're planning a wedding through this whole situation. Just stay strong. Don't get discouraged. Take notes on what you want to do as soon as the quarantine stuff is lifted. Good luck to you and your journeys to planning a wedding.